linear, look at that. Lovely, lovely linear. One in the net as well. Let's have him in there with his pal. Gosh. Yes. Yes. That is exactly why I go fishing in the winter.
So, for episode 3 of Carp Fix, we are into December. We haven't got any opportunity to film if we fail. Scott's still working 2 jobs at this point. It's cold, you know, and the pressure's on. We've got 4 nights to catch some fish for the camera and get a nice film. And due to this, you know, I was a little bit worried, you know, nervous, anxious about the potential for failure. So I said to Scott, I'm going to go to Priory Park in Southend. It's a typical park lake, really small, maybe about an acre in size, really, really shallow, about 50-60 carp in there, and it has reasonable winter form. Prior to our arrival though, it done 2 fish in 2 weeks. I've been fishing really slow. Because it'd been fishing slow and because the pressure was on with regards to time, I said to Scott, I'm going to get there a couple of days before you because I want you to hit the floor running when you arrive. I want to know that I'm fishing correctly. I want to know that I'm in the right swim. So I did that. I caught a couple of nice fish, demonstrating all the tactics that you'll see in this film. It was good, you know, we saw fish throughout the session and managed to change things up until we caught. On the opposite side to Prairie Park, you know, Prairie Park's your typical rough and ready park lake, you know, public are walking around and it's just, you know, fish in the park lake, it's available for all. But we decided to go from there after doing 2 nights to Churchgate, which is more your members / commercial fishery. You know, you have to join a membership fee to get onto the membership, and then you pay a fee per night. You book your swim prior to arrival, and in this film we're going to demonstrate the tactics that keep those bites coming on these types of waters at that time of year. You know, it's freezing cold, we want to catch fish, we know the carp aren't feeding a lot, and in this film we show you exactly how we do it.
Three, 2, 1.
So Priory Park, it's not what I would say your typical fishery.
What does that do?
Puts bait in the water, fishing bait.
Yeah.
It's a typical park lake, you know, it's near a big town. It's got a main park, it's got dog walkers everywhere, got general public wandering around, sirens up and down the main road at the back there. A lot of people getting about. The fish, you know, if you watch them, when I've seen people, they see it every day, so they're not scared of it. You know, they're used to it. This is where they live. And waters like this, you know, they exist throughout the country. You know, this isn't just, it is what I would say, it is a little hidden gem. You know, there's some beautiful scaly fish in here, some old ones, some younger ones that they've been growing through. You know, it's well managed, this particular park lake, but there are lakes like this, you know, little park lakes full of carp that can give you that bit of winter sport, you know. And as much as I love targeting big carp and going on adventures all over the show, I enjoy this too, you know, coming to somewhere compact, small, where I can see that I'm fishing, I can see that I've got a chance, you know. You can sit there during the session knowing that you're on fish, and that's obviously the be all and the end all of carp fishing. So I've picked this lake mostly because I think I can catch, you know, and as I have caught already, you know. It's the sort of lake that you can come to at this time of year, see the fish for them, and expect to catch something. It's currently the middle of December, and it's the sort of time of year when I like to target venues like this and come and catch a few fish. I arrived the day before yesterday, and I'd done the night and I caught a couple yesterday. I had 3 fish, and Scott's arrived this morning, and I had this one in the early hours of the morning, and I thought I'd save him to show you guys. 18 pounds. We're going to do a couple of nights here. I'm going to show you the tactics that I'm using to keep these cold water bites coming, and yeah, hopefully we'll catch a few fish along the way. Talking a little bit about tactics. You know, obviously I'm fishing predominantly out to the island
in very, very shallow water. You know, these fish have seen an awful lot of chod rigs, Ronnie rigs for the last few years and all throughout the season. But I think a much underused presentation and something just a bit different is the solid bag. You know, obviously it's a little bit time consuming to construct, you know, and if you miscast one of these, it's an absolute disaster. You know, you're going to be there back in your bivvy for 10 minutes getting ready. But using the bait boat, deploying these under the trees, that in the winter they're not really eating much. You know, just having that small little parcel, and also in the hours of darkness, pop-ups are good, but the oil and the food in those pellets is real world attraction. You know, really going to pull those fish down onto the rig. And I just think when they're not feeding much, when they've seen a load of pop-ups throughout the years, throughout the season, this is a bit more subtle. You know, tiny dark patch of pellet with a little, it's a washed out sort of pink wafter, really small. It's probably only about 8 mil in size, and probably don't even see that until they're nuzzling around in the bag, and then that little wafter flies up into their mouth with a really short hook link, a 3.5 ounce flat pair. That's a shock. You know, you take that into your mouth on a short rig like that, you're in a whole world of trouble. So when deciding where you might fish in the winter, there's a few things to consider. First of all, does it have any winter form? You know, do fish get caught there through the colder months regularly? And if they do, then obviously that's a good starting point. On the flip side, you know, the real big low stock waters, especially deep weedy ones, can be a complete waste of time in the winter. Not always, but generally, you know. So my advice when picking a venue for cold water carp fishing is, in an ideal world, it won't be weedy. In an ideal world, it'll be shallow, so that when you get the mild spells come in, there's more chance of the water warming up quickly and the fish coming onto a little feed. And also, if it's shallow, the temperature can change quicker. You know, as the wind blows onto the surface, it gets that warmth into the water, and it brings the fish on. You know, it brings them onto the feed. But most importantly, the reason the shallow lake is good is because the fish are more likely to encounter your bait. You know, if you're fishing a lake that's 10, 12, 14 foot deep, there's lots of different times in the winter when the fish will be off of the bottom. And even on a shallow lake like this, that's only 2.5, 3 foot deep, there's a chance they could still be off the bottom and won't drop down. But the difference between 3 foot deep and 14 foot deep, you know, those fish are always, especially now in the clear water, they've got visual contact with your bait, you know, and that visual contact with your bait is, I think it's important in the winter. I think, you know, the more times that it's in their face, the more it's almost like antagonising them to take it. So I would say pick a lake that's got good winter form, that's got a good stock, you know, a good amount of fish in it, a shallow lake, one that's not weedy, and one that can be sheltered from the winds for comfort. You know, that'll make it more enjoyable. But yeah, they're the main things that I look for in a winter venue. "24 hours in and nothing to report," so not ideal when you call the cameraman in. But when I caught the 3 fish, the wind was pushing, I say 3 fish, it was 4 fish, but the wind was pushing down to this end of the lake. I know it's only a light breeze, but it seemed to make all the difference a couple of days ago. And when the cameraman Scotty, when he first arrived, I put a bit of decoy bait out off camera, just a few 10 mil sort of cell boilies, just to keep the birds off of my island rods. And I put it on this lovely little clear patch off of the wooden boards that you can see behind me. And now that the wind's blowing in over there, I noticed this morning that most of the 10 mil baits had gone. It was like 3 handfuls or so I put down there, but there was the odd one left this morning. And then I've been round there since the wind's been trickling in, and they seem to have gone. And also, I saw a couple of carp touch bottom there, so things are looking, well, as good as possible, really. You know, there's fish visiting that spot. I've moved a rod, lowered a little bag down onto the clear spot where I put those 10 mils. The island rod has been put back on the money spot where I've caught 3 of the 4 fish from, with the bait boat. You know, it's all been done absolutely perfectly. Conditions are good. There's nobody to my right, and yeah, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen today. Well, finally, we have had a take. Hang on a second, it's going to go through that other line. I don't want to ruin that one. Finally, we've had a take. It's come from the bait boated rod right under the trees, and it's been fish around all day. But considering it's winter and it's cold, the fish are using the whole lake. I've had a little walk around. I've seen fish pretty much everywhere. They're not just holding in one particular part of the lake. They are really getting about, and in these conditions, with a moving like that, they should be feeding. And come on, there it is. Get in there. Yes. Happy days. And it's light enough to get the rod back out before it gets dark, which is important. Just put this in there. You watching this? Gonna lay my old towel in there, mate. Oh, look at that. Bet Tell don't know that trick. Ready? So how's about that for a winter warmer? It's been a slow first 24 hours, and got lots of excuses. The fish were all over me. It looked bang on the whole time we've been here, but when I've reeled in this morning, my rig was absolutely smothered in leaves, and I think that was probably the reason. I dropped it just a tiny bit short, so redone the rods. I've gone up right under the tree with the bait boat, got it as accurate as possible. There's a tiny little gravel shelf there, and I think it's really important to be on that, you know, right in under the bushes. And yeah, it looks really good. You know, it's overcast, it's raining, all the other anglers on the lake have left, so going into tonight, I'm feeling pretty confident. Hopefully there'll be a few more. Tomorrow we're off to Churchgate Fishery, and it's pretty well stocked over there, so hopefully there'll be plenty more fish to come. So the rod that I walked round to the far bank and sort of lowered in, it produced a really small ghostie early in the night, and I reeded it just after that, and I've just had another take. This one feels a little bit bigger, a bit heavier. That's what we came for. Park Lake Scaly. Bosh, get in there. That's what we came for, buddy. Again, it's off that rod that I've been walking around and sort of dropping off the area where they feed the ducks. Obviously loads and loads of breadcrumbs going in the water there all the time, and it's every day, loads and loads of people are there throwing breadcrumb or throwing bread in, feeding the ducks, bits of it going to the bottom, and at night the fish come in and hoover it up. It is another ghostie. I'm an absolute carrot catcher. It is, look. Carp Fix ornamental carp buzz. I've been watching him swim around for days, that one. So there we are. The exact reason we came to Priory Park. This lake is known for its really scaly mirrors like this. And this is one of three last night. First of all, caught a really small ghostie. I imagine it was about 5 or 6 pounds. And then this one, which was 22 pounds. And then we had another ghostie, sort of a orangey coloured ghostie. Last of all, again, probably 17, 18 pounds. We'll call him Duracell. He looked like a Duracell battery. All three fish coming from the new spot over to where the ducks get fed. and I wonder how many I might have caught if I'd been fishing there earlier. But that's the nature of the game. You go to lakes, you don't know exactly what you're doing to start, and you adjust based on what you see and what you think. That's all that we've got time for here at Priory Park. We're off to Churchgate now, and there's a few bigger ones in there, and we'll see how we get on. So we are over at Churchgate Fishery in Rettendon, Essex.